Welcome to Homestead Blessings.
For generations, our family has kept alive the delightful and creative art of cooking from scratch.
With some planning and a little preparation, you too can make scrumptious meals for your family and friends to enjoy.
So let's get started cooking.
For the West ladies, there's no better way to start a day than with a good, healthy country breakfast. We're going to talk about now what we're going to have for breakfast. We are going to make fried apples and onions, which is a very old-fashioned dish that they used to use in the pioneer days. I used to make that all the time for breakfast. It's really, really yummy. We're going to make fried potatoes. Those are always just very good for breakfast. And we're going to make stacked pancakes, which are really good, especially with fresh maple syrup and homemade butter. And Hannah is going to show us about making the pancakes.
For stacked pancakes, the ingredients you're going to need to start with are wheat flour. You're going to want 1 cup of wheat flour.
We like to use fresh ground.
That's right. Also, you're going to want to put it in a sifter, directly into your sifter, because it calls for sifted flour. So we're doing 1 cup of wheat flour. And I like to use 1 cup of white flour. You can use all wheat if you want, or you can use all white flour if you want. That's entirely up to you. But I like to kind of make it half and half. I think it makes a better pancake, actually. Then you're going to want 2 teaspoons of baking powder, which I already have that measured out here. And you're just going to dump that in your sifter. And 1 teaspoon of soda. You're going to dump that in there. And a half a teaspoon of salt, which I have the salt right here. There we go. And you're going to just sift those dry ingredients together right into your bowl. It helps to mix it up really well too, which you're also going to mix it with a fork, but the sifter helps to mix. I really like using my sifter at home. It's one of my favorite baking tools, I think, is my sifter.
I know.
It's fun to use, yeah.
Yeah, it is. All right, can someone hand me a fork, please? Thank you. So once you have your dry ingredients well mixed up, then it's time to add the wet ingredients. Now's a good time to add the sugar. All right, you're going to want to add 2 tablespoons of sugar, and that can be after you've already mixed up your dry ingredients. Just put it right in there in the bowl. Mom, could you hand me 2 eggs, please?
Sure will.
Your next ingredients are going to be 2 fresh eggs. We like to raise chickens, so we have fresh eggs just about any time we need them, and that is very nice. So you're just going to go ahead and put your eggs right in the bowl. There we go.
And we can save our
And you want to
shells.
beat those, you can just beat those right into the bowl. You know, you don't have to just beat them like that. You don't want to mix all your flour in yet. You just kind of want to beat them just like in their own little space right there. And then you add your buttermilk, and I have 1 cup and 3/4 of buttermilk here. You just pour that right into your egg mixture.
Buttermilk makes the best pancakes.
It does. It makes them get really tall.
Right.
And a half a cup of oil.
And you can use just any vegetable oil that you have. We like to use coconut oil, but you know, whatever kind of oil you would like to use in this.
And you mix that, you kind of mix that in itself too before you start mixing in the flour. And when you go to mix in the flour, you're basically just stirring it to moisten. You don't want to like beat this batter like you would cornbread. You just want to stir it until all your flour is wet, no longer dry, and sticking to the sides here. So that's when you know your batter's mixed up.
And while Hannah's mixing up the batter, we have our iron skillets ready. We love to fry pancakes in iron skillets. So we're going to start slowly heating this up so that by the time she has the batter mixed up, it'll be ready and hot to fry. We like to use coconut oil to fry our pancakes in. So we're going to put this in our heating skillet. I just use like a tablespoon to a skillet this size. We might spread it around a little bit. And I can feel that getting hot. This is going to be great. You want this nice and hot before you put your pancakes in it.
You'll notice that the batter here, the pancake batter, is kind of lumpy. Now the first time I made pancakes, I was like, why is my batter all lumpy? But actually, it's supposed to look that way. So if your batter's lumpy, you do not have to beat it till it's smooth. That's perfectly fine. So, you think we're ready to put one in?
Okay, I guess I'm going to fry the pancakes. Okay, we like to get, am I going to make my pancakes or y'all's pancakes?
How about the normal size?
Okay.
We have a family competition, I think. Jasmine likes to make huge pancakes, and I like the normal size pancakes.
So I think we can fit 2 in this skillet. We're just going to,
Looks like it's a little high.
yeah, we're going to turn it down a little bit now because it's nice and hot, as you can see.
Might need a little bit more oil.
You can also add oil as you're frying them. If you think you don't have enough, you don't want your pancakes to stick, just add a little bit more.
And what we're going to watch for is we're going to watch the edges carefully because you've got a little bit of oil in here. You don't want to have any oil popping on you, but we're going to watch the edges. And also, as they start to fry, this is so neat. I remember when I first learned to make pancakes, I think Mom taught me this. She said, watch for the little bubbles. And that's when you know when it's ready to turn. So this one's starting to make bubbles already.
Yep.
I'm just going to start at the edge, and oh yeah, it's ready. Flip it over. There we go.
Now when these pancakes are done, this is the trick to making the best stacked pancakes. What you're going to do is when you put the first pancake on the plate, you're going to put lots of butter and maple syrup. We make our own maple syrup and it tastes so good. We love doing it too. It's so much fun in the wintertime making maple syrup. And you put on the butter and then you pour on the maple syrup and you just stack them as high as you want like that. And I think it makes the best pancakes.
Can't you make this mix ahead if you'd like to?
Multiply your recipe maybe 6 times of your dry ingredients. So like your flour and your soda and your salt. And then you would mix it up and have it ready. And then all you have to do later on is add your oil and your eggs and your buttermilk. And it makes it a little easier when you go to make breakfast in the morning. You're one step ahead.
You think it's ready to put on the plate?
I think these are about done. So Hannah is ready with her butter.
I've got my butter already softened and it's so yummy to use fresh homemade butter also. It just makes the pancakes so much better. And here's the maple syrup. Pour that on there.
Beautiful. Whoa. Oh.
Are you ready to put the next pancake on?
Yep. And you kind of do this assembly.
Yeah, it helps if you have brothers or sisters or your mom or dad who can help you out in the kitchen because it makes it so much smoother than if you're doing it on your own.
Add some more oil.
I think we can fit one more pancake on this stack when they're done.
Oh, that looks so good.
Woo!
This one's ready to go.
All right. I guess the reason why I've never liked making the big pancakes is they're trickier to flip. But she's got it down. She can just flip them, and I flip them, and the batter goes everywhere.
There's a little, you have
I like my
to, you have to
pancakes
practice flipping your pancakes. So we're just going to put one more on here, and
That's
I think,
right, and that'll be a stack.
Yep. And then we're going to start frying potatoes while they keep frying pancakes.
Hey, you want to put some, do you need to add more butter?
I think I already buttered that one. Why don't you put that one on top?
Put that one on there, and that is a stacked pancake. That is so cool.
And you can make the stack as high as you want. If you like to eat 10 pancakes at a time, you can stack up 10. I think we're going to go with 3 because I don't think I can handle 10 pancakes.
Growing up, I always wanted Mom, before I learned how to cook, I was always, Mom, fried potatoes, fried potatoes. Love fried potatoes. But we never really understood the trick of frying potatoes because there is a trick to it, you know, to try not to get them stick or get done all the way but not get too done. So I finally learned after a while. We were up in Kentucky visiting some friends, some hill folk up there, and she was in there, our friend was in there frying potatoes for breakfast, and I came in and I said, how do you make them where they don't all turn brown or just stick real bad but they still get done and they're soft? And she taught me how to do it, and I'm going to show y'all now. First thing we're going to do is get our skillet hot here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some oil in the skillet. Like we said before, we use coconut oil, but you can use any oil you prefer. A lot of the oil, yeah, you want the bottom of your skillet just really nice and coated. You don't want it like, of course, it's not deep fry, but it's probably, I'd say, about a ½ inch of oil in the bottom of your skillet at the most, maybe a little less. Kind of eye it here. A 1/4 inch to a ½ inch of oil in the bottom. A lot of the old timers and pioneer folks, they used lard because you always had a lot of lard on hand on a farm, and that's also very good to fry in when you're frying potatoes. It just works great.
It's good for the skillet too.
Yes, it
The
helps
lard's
keep
really
your
good.
skillet really nice.
Okay.
All right,
What you want Mom to do?
we got our potatoes over here.
You want to
Just
drain
bring
them?
them over here, yeah. What we did is we've already cut up our potatoes and we've got water over them, cold water, so they won't turn brown, because after you cut up potatoes and you peel them and all that stuff, sometimes they just turn brown if you leave them, set them out. Also, another great tip is if you know you want to have fried potatoes for breakfast, the night before, peel and cut up your potatoes and cover them with water and put them in a cool place like the refrigerator, and they are all ready the next morning for you to drain them off and start frying. So that's what we need to do with these. Also, the cold water and keeping them in the fridge helps keep them crisp and fresh. And we've just cut up our potatoes in small, like, chunks or cubes here. You don't want them real big, but you don't want them real small either. So a medium size is good. Our grease is getting hot here.
Okay. That's a neat sound, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like that
that's
sound.
a good sound. What I'm going to do here is just do a nice, even layer. I don't want to fill them up too much because I am going to be stirring them around. You notice how they sizzled when we threw them in there? That's good because that's going to brown them a little bit like hash browns. And we're going to let them start cooking like that. Now once I do that, I just kind of leave them alone and let them sit there. And watch your temperature. And this is also a good time to flavor your potatoes because they will absorb in that flavor. So if you want your potatoes just to be plain and put some salt and black pepper just like that, or you just don't want to flavor them at all, that's okay. I like to put like a Creole seasoning in a little bit. It's nice if it's a little spice to it.
Can I
like
get that
spicy
out?
food. Yes,
You're just
we'll do that.
pepper. Okay.
And I'm going to do some black pepper here. Put a little bit of this in here.
That's smelling good already.
A little bit of salt on there. Now, we can see if they need turning a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of stirring these around so they all get coated in the oil. And they are leaving a little bit on the bottom here. They are sticking a little bit. But don't worry if they do that. It's okay. I still have plenty of oil in there.
Should you turn it down a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I think it's okay.
Yeah, because I guess potatoes take a little bit longer to cook, so you do want this one a little bit higher than for frying pancakes. So.
Now you can watch it. If you think that they're sticking too much, they might need to be turned down, or you might need to add a little bit more oil. These look like they have plenty of oil. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to put a lid on them, and that's one of the secrets about frying, I found about frying potatoes, is that steam is going to come up on this lid, and the steam is actually going to cook them, and on the bottom they're going to get fried and browned, so they turn out really good and soft to eat. Now I'm going to switch burners. I'm going to put them on the back burner here. Put my other skillet up so I can show you. While these are cooking out back here, I'm going to show you how to make fried apples and onions. Now, when I first heard about that, I was like, that just doesn't sound good. Like, apples are sweet and onions are hot and, you know, make your eyes water. But I tried it, and it was so delicious. So, Mom's going to help us out with our apples here. What we want to do is we're going to core our apples with our little handy apple core.
This is neat.
Like this. Make sure you wash your apples ahead of time, and it'd be a good idea to have organic apples because we're going to leave the peeling on the apples. And it's fun to get a really pretty colored apple, like a really green tart apple, or really pretty red and yellow apples are really nice to have. We're going to leave the peeling on because as we fry them, we want them to keep their shape. We don't want them to turn into mush like applesauce. We're going to put butter in the skillet for the apples and onions because that's going to be really good.
That's a handy tool, isn't it?
Yes, it
it's
is.
An apple core.
For your fried apples, you need to use a yellow onion. It doesn't need to be a sweet onion. It doesn't need to be hot, but like a nice medium yellow onion. And a great tip before you go chopping up your onion and start crying all over the place is to run it under cold water for a while. That really helps.
And Cecilia, you want me to chop these apples in half?
Right.
Chop them in half again.
Yep, so they'll be quarters.
Right. Chop them in half again.
Yep.
And that makes 8 pieces. Right.
Yep.
A little math here, a little
Kinda
educational cooking. Huh?
Kind of like cutting a pie.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that. So I'm going
All right.
to chop and chop.
And I'm going to check on these potatoes while she's doing that. Yes, that's exactly what I want them to do there.
So now we've got 3 things going here.
Yep.
Pancakes, potatoes, and apples. Fried apples.
Just stick them in this bowl here till we throw them in the skillet.
Okay.
Now what you want to do is you're just going to cut your onions into rings and then cut them in half.
Oh, I can cut them in half for
Yep.
you, okay?
All right.
I've gotten on a roll here.
We're going to put, the first thing we're going to do for the fried apples and onions is we're going to put our onion rings here, down here into the butter. Let me turn that down a little bit.
Right, you can usually tell if your skillet is really hot, like now it's sizzling really fast, that means it's really hot. So that's why she turned it down. Those are some things to look for when you're frying.
Yep.
If it was slower, you might have needed to turn it up a little bit.
Now, Cece, are you going to do those till they're clear, or?
Yes. What you want to do is cook your onions till they're nice and soft and kind of clear. Just like this in your hot butter or whatever oil you would like to use.
Onions go with everything, don't they? Fried apples,
They really
right?
do.
They do,
Yeah,
really.
they're
You can put
wonderful.
onions in so much
Onions
stuff.
go with everything.
I'm going to keep the lid off now and let them get nice and brown because they're not really browning right now.
Right, and another thing too, at this stage, you could take a fork and stick it in your potato to see how tender it is, and that way you'll have a little bit of an idea of how much longer you need to cook them. That way, that's a good way to judge how much longer
Matter of
you
fact,
need.
I might need to borrow this flipper here.
Okay, I think we're
can.
sure.
These can go a little longer.
They are almost done. These look so good.
Yep, it all smells so good.
Pancakes.
It's nice to have your food look good, but you know, we know it's going to taste
More
good.
important
So
to make sure it tastes
exactly.
Well, now, y'all, I'm a visual. I like it to look good. I do. I love the colors and the patterns
Right, that's
and
stacked pancakes.
the
This
goldenness.
breakfast is coming together.
Yep.
This
All
is
right.
great.
good. Now, our onions look like they're ready to add the apples to them. So I'm just going to place these apples in here like this. Just kind of throw them in there.
Do you always cut them this thick, or is that just a preference?
It's probably a preference. I mean, they probably cook faster if they were really thin.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Then if you want them to cook slow and just kind of absorb in all the flavor, then you can cut them bigger.
Thicker. That's a good idea.
I think that size is perfect. I really do, because you still have like almost like a crunch, firmness, but
Right.
oh, it's delicious, and it still gets cooked in time. Yeah.
Now this is optional, but once you put your layer of apples over your onions, you can put in about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar if you want to sprinkle that. And you can even put in a little bit of, maybe a tiny bit of cinnamon or like an apple pie spice. That would be yummy.
You know, maple syrup would work really
Maple
well
syrup
too
would be
over the apples.
good.
Do you want to try that today?
Let's do maple syrup
All right.
today.
I love maple syrup.
Get some apple pie spice. You want to use that?
Sure.
too?
Yeah,
that'd be
Okay.
nice.
Let's go with that.
Be delicious.
That's another awesome thing about making your own meals from scratch. You can completely just add whatever you feel like. You know, if you don't have the brown sugar, you add the maple syrup. If you don't have the cinnamon, you can use apple pie spice, and you can create almost an entirely new meal than what you originally started with, or maybe something different if you're tired of the same old food, by just adding a different spice or a different sweetener.
What I'm going to do now for our fried apples and onions is I'm going to put the lid over it just for a little while, get that steam to cook those apples really good. And we can even switch burners probably. So I'm going to stir these potatoes here. They're almost done, I think. Mom, would you like to test them with the fork, please, and see if they're soft enough? You want them soft, but you don't want them like mashed potato soft, but you don't want them really hard either. Kind of like
it could go a little while, Cece.
almost like a boiled potato. Yep. Let those cook.
I wonder how the apples are doing.
We can check them and see.
Yep. See all that steam?
Good.
I bet they could. I'd put it right back over. I really would.
Well,
I could tell.
Let's stir them around here a little
Okay.
bit and get those
That's a
onions
good
up
idea.
from underneath.
Oh, the smell. Oh, that smells so good. Mmm. That does remind me of fall. That's a great.
it does.
Yeah, it does.
We're gonna finish frying these potatoes, and while our apples are cooking and the potatoes are finishing, Mom and I are gonna show you how to make a healthy smoothie. Well, now we're ready to make our healthy green smoothie, and we have our ingredients here. We have frozen bananas. I'll let you chop them, Mom.
Okay,
and
sure.
one of the nice things about freezing bananas, this makes an excellent base for a smoothie. It adds creaminess, and it also is the sweetener, which is so neat. We are not going to add any additional sweetener to this. It's just the fruit and the green stuff and the good milk. We have nice fresh milk here. Green smoothies, that does sound a little strange, but this banana is so good and so tasty that you don't even taste the green. It's just your health, your nutrition, and your energy right in there. It just happens to be a green color.
Yeah, this is kale right from our yard. We've grown this kale, and it's kind of like before frost. It hasn't frosted yet, but the kale is really nice and green, and this is very healthy stuff.
Right, we're gonna just tear this up just a little bit, throw it in there. I like to get out the tough stem, so just pick the tough stem out because it doesn't blend very well. We want a smooth smoothie. So we're just gonna tear it up a little bit. I only had this little bit of kale, so I am gonna add some superfood. This can be just powdered superfoods like spirulina or spinach powder. If you don't have this, that's okay. And you know what? If you don't like green and you don't want to make a green smoothie, just forget the kale and just make it with bananas and milk. It makes a wonderful smoothie. We're going to add a tablespoon of that in there. Can you sell that for me, Mom? Okay, and we like to use cow milk. This is raw cow milk. This is good nutrition. If you can't get raw cow milk, just get some from the supermarket. Preferably organic. We're making a healthy smoothie here. So I just like put half milk, and as you can see, the bananas come up here and the kale comes up here. We're going to put the lid on. We're going to start on low so that our blender can chop up those bananas a little bit more. There we go. Okay, we're going to stop it. And would you hand me one of those wooden spoons? We love our wooden spoons.
It's a wooden fork. Is that okay?
A wooden fork. This will work. Okay, we're just going to hand stir it up just a tad to get that green down in the bottom of it, okay? And this is looking good already. I can't wait to taste it. Okay, we're going to go on low one more time. It's almost all the way blended up. We're going to switch to high. Okay, what we want to do, you can still see a little particle of the kale. I like to blend that until it's totally smooth. So we're going to blend it one more time and then it's ready to eat. Might stir it a little bit. I think this is ready. I have a green glass because for those who are still getting used to healthy foods and green foods, I go ahead and put it in a dark glass, and that way it doesn't look so strange. But this is delicious. It really, really is. So I'm just going to pour this up. I might have a little sip. Then we'll see how the other breakfast is getting along. That is so good. I don't taste any green, but I know it's got it in there, and it's going to be healthy for me. It's going to give me energy to finish cooking this breakfast. So let's see how it's going over there.
Very good. Yes, they're done.
And I think our pancakes are coming along real well too.
Let's check on the apples here. Wow, that's what we want them to look like. How's the pancakes?
Well, I've got several plates already done.
Hand me a plate.
All
and let's
right,
serve
you
up
ready
the
to
plate
serve up a
here.
breakfast plate?
And the apple is delicious. You want me to help you?
Nice. Some potatoes
Hold it
on
for
here.
you. I got the plate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That
That is
is a good breakfast.
That looks delicious. We have our fried apples and onions, our fried potatoes, stacked pancakes, and a healthy green smoothie. This is a great country breakfast.
All right, now that we've made a great breakfast, it's time to make some lunch. Today, we're going to have homemade pizza and tomato soup. All right, first for the tomato soup, since we're going to make that first, we want that to be simmering on our back burner and cooking nice while we're going to decorate the pizza later. So, to get started on the tomato soup, the first thing I'm going to do is gently or lightly brown some onions in a skillet. So, Hannah, if you want to put some oil in the skillet and turn it on about medium, it doesn't need to be real hot at all. And I'm going to chop up some onions here real quick.
Onions are a great way to start just about any kind of savory meal, huh?
Yes, definitely.
We've even had friends who said they didn't like onions at all.
Oh, I know.
Eat our food when we put onions in them, and I think it's because we saute them first, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It's not like they're raw and real hot
They're
and
not
spicy.
the fresh
Yeah.
onion flavor. It's a whole nother flavor, but it's really good.
See, I don't know if our skillet's real hot yet, but nope, not yet. And I'm going to
Alright.
start chopping up some garlic here. Ooh, those onions are strong.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, and I even ran my onion under the water for a good amount of time. Hey, Hannah, can you hand me a little handy?
Get the
Oh, you're doing the
Carrots,
carrots.
yeah.
All right. The next thing I'm going to put in that onion skillet is this garlic. If you're almost done with that, you can
Yeah.
take over the chopping
okay, I
of the
can
garlic.
do that.
And I'm going to take this and put it in here. Put it in here.
It's starting to smell so good. I bet this is
sure
going to be a really
is.
good soup.
It's a great idea to saute, I believe, to saute your vegetables, some of your vegetables that you're going to put in your soup first, because it makes this great flavor that you don't get if you just throw raw vegetables in some cold, stock.
I think it helps to hold the flavor in the vegetables. When you saute the onions first, then add the vegetables. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Now, are we going to saute these carrots?
We are, but first, before we do that, I am going to go ahead in my skillet here. I'm going to take out my bouillon cube here. I have a vegetable bouillon, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in now. Usually, you probably add it in your broth, but I started doing this, and it makes a huge difference.
It dissolves. Does it dissolve well that way?
Yeah, I'll show you what I do.
Okay.
I actually just start smashing it into this oil here.
Oh, I see.
Mix it with the onions and the garlic, which we might need a tad more oil in here.
All right.
Oh, that's good.
that good?
That's good. Now we can quarter up these tomatoes here.
All right.
These tomatoes, these are they're called Roma tomatoes, and they're great to use if they're more of a meaty tomato than they are actually juicy, and they're great to use for tomato soups, or if you're gonna make like tomato sauce. It's better to use these tomatoes so you don't have so much juice, that you have to
that's
boil
right.
out or cook out.
So as opposed to like your sandwich tomatoes, which
Right.
are big and round and just sliced, these are more of, like she said, a meaty, a thick tomato.
And
hearty.
we're just cutting them up like this. Actually, they don't have to be cut up real small. And we're going to put them, you can just cut up a few more. We're going to put them right here in the skillet with our onions here.
There we go.
And turn our skillet up a little bit. I'm going to start adding some of these carrots too in there. You're just trying to get a good flavor started out here, really. With most soups, what you're going to have is you're going to have a basic stock, a basic soup stock. Now, today we're going to use tomato juice, which for our soup stock, because we're making tomato soup. Stir that in now. I'm going to start adding my seasonings to this now.
What kind of seasonings do we have today that we're putting in?
Well, let's see. Let's put in some garlic powder. That's good.
So that's about a half a teaspoon, you'd say?
About a half teaspoon of garlic powder.
You're gonna put some onion powder in there?
Yep. Half teaspoon of onion powder. Same as the garlic powder. There we go.
How much oregano do you usually put in?
1 teaspoon, I'd say 1 teaspoon. I usually just, you know, I'm one of those kind of cooks.
Smells so good. And with any of these seasonings we're using, you can use as much or as little as you want to taste. It's very flexible. And also with like how much if you're cooking for only 2 or 3 people, you cook a smaller amount. And if you're cooking for 10 people, well, you need to go pick some tomatoes out of your garden. Get a lot more.
Or go to the supermarket and find some.
How about, do you want a spoon of this too?
Yeah, that's good. That looks, it's starting to smell really good. It looks delicious. Beautiful colors too, red and green, and then the white onions and garlic.
I know it is.
See what else we have here. I'd put some black pepper in there, and I might put a little bit of salt, but not too much because we'll probably salt it when we do the broth.
All right.
Why don't you open those cans of tomato juice and put them in the pot here.
Now here we have our tomato juice. You can either can your tomato juice beforehand in the summer when you have plenty of tomatoes, or maybe your farmer's market or your local supermarket has an abundance of tomatoes. You can go ahead and can up some like we do, or you can get fresh tomatoes and just put them in your blender and puree them and make tomato juice. It's really, really easy. Your tomato juice is what we're using for our stock, right?
Right. Yep.
So there's no secret or, hard, it's not hard to do. There's no trick. You just put some tomatoes in a blender and puree them until they're juice. And then you can use them like that.
Put some of this stuff in here.
So
Let's see. This is soup greens. Some seasoning there. Now I've turned my skillet up because I kind of want this to do a simmer, sort of simmer. But then once again, we're not, trying to cook our vegetables because they are going to cook in the soup broth. Lovely, wonderful smelling tomato and onions and carrots and garlic
seasonings. And put it right in the soup here. Ooh. Oh wow, that looks good.
Get every little thing out there.
That looks like you got it.
Yep. Now stir that together.
Wow, look at that. It's beautiful. You can see the colors and you can see the seasons from it.
And we haven't even started simmering this pot of, the soup stock here. The tomato juice is still cold. We haven't even started heating it. And the carrots are still a little hard, so they need to kind of cook down. All right, we're going to set this on the back burner here and let it simmer and cook. And meanwhile, we're going to decorate our pizza.
That's right. We went ahead and pre-baked this pizza crust so it would be all ready.
And this is the same recipe of same pizza crust recipe we use on our bread making video.
That's right. It's a really tasty crust. Oh, we love it. And we're going to start with our sauce. So you're just going to get your sauce and spread it on as thick.
It's the first thing you're going to put on your pizza here.
As thick or thin as you like it.
Okay, this is good.
That looks really good. Now the toppings, we have all kinds of toppings here. We have the cheeses. We actually like to use different kinds of cheeses. We like to use yellow cheese and mozzarella cheese because it looks pretty, and I guess we just like the taste of it, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So what are we going to start with, the cheese or the toppings?
Why don't we put a layer of mozzarella cheese and then start some toppings
and then put more cheese?
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
That's the fun thing about making a pizza. If you're making your own homemade pizza, you can be as creative as you want to be, and you can have anything on it that you want on it. It's just great.
That's right. You can put all of your favorite toppings, or you can put just one topping, or you can just make it a cheese pizza.
It's definitely an art here. But it's fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of the most fun creative cooking arts I think there is. And it's so easy to make. Okay.
There you go.
How about we put on our black olives next?
All right. You know what? We like to put fresh chopped up mushrooms on our pizza, but we don't like to put them on raw because we've already pre-baked our crust. And when we put our pizza in the oven, we're only going to let it bake just a little while. We don't want to, overcook it. So I'm going to saute these mushrooms really quick over here in this skillet and kind of cook them a little bit. We got beautiful green bell peppers. Bell peppers are so healthy for you. I'm going to sprinkle these on here a little bit.
Now, you can also saute your bell peppers if you like. You can put them in with the mushrooms, or put them first and then saute the mushrooms in a few minutes later with them. You can saute onions and bell peppers together if you want. It gives it such an awesome flavor when you do it that way.
Here, I'll let you do this, and I'm going to stir my mushrooms here. I am using olive oil here with my mushrooms to get a very good Italian taste here.
Oh, it will give it a good
smells really
flavor.
good.
Now we're going to try some yellow peppers. One of the cool things about bell peppers is they come in all colors. You can get green, you can get yellow, you can get red. It makes your pizza look really happy, and I don't know, there's more of an art to it. It's not a boring or blah pizza. How about, you think that's enough yellow bell peppers?
Yeah, that looks great.
Good. And how about some red ones? This is going to be a really colorful pizza.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Pizza of many colors. That's good.
How about the pepperonis? We're going to put some pepperonis on there.
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, put some pepperonis on there.
Let me see how these mushrooms are doing.
What's a pizza without pepperonis, huh? This is a great job to let children do, because you can't go wrong when you're decorating a pizza.
That's right.
I like to call it decorating a pizza, I guess. I don't know what else.
What other word would you use?
Dressing a pizza?
Yeah, it's a fun job for your whole family to do. Actually, it's not really a job. It's more like a project. You can invite your friends over and you can have a pizza party. Everybody can make their own personal pan pizza. There's these sauteed mushrooms. They really smell good.
They do.
I guess this is what you would call a loaded pizza.
This is definitely a loaded pizza here.
I don't think you can put too much cheese on a pizza.
Nope.
That's my personal opinion.
If you're making it at home, you don't have to worry about extra charge.
That's true.
For that cheese.
Beautiful. All right, I think that's good.
All right.
Now we're going to put our yellow cheese on top. Put the oven at 400. Is that usually what we do?
Yeah.
Because basically we're just wanting to melt the cheese. We have most of our ingredients are cooked already. Our mushrooms are cooked. Our crust was pre-baked. So all we really need to do is melt the cheese. So I think 400 will probably be a good temperature.
And we're going to put it in there for...
Oh, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just until your cheese is melted like all the way into your
10
pizza.
10 minutes at the most.
Yeah, you don't want to overbake it, that's for sure.
There we go. In the oven it goes. And now...
It's time to check on the soup.
Let's check on the soup here. It's coming along.
It is.
Now, you might want to add a little bit of water, a cup or two of water to your soup, your juice here. And but it hasn't simmered yet. It needs to kind of come to a nice good simmer. All right, we got tomato soup and we got pizza in the oven. And now we're gonna have Mom and Jasmine are gonna show y'all how to make a wonderful, beautiful salad in some homemade salad dressings.
We're ready to build our salad now. We have our salad ingredients gathered. We like to start with nice colorful salad greens and romaine lettuce. So Mom's gonna start tearing up the romaine lettuce. We like to tear our lettuce because if you cut it with a knife, I used to cut it with a knife, but sometimes you'll get a little metallic taste, so that's why we're gonna tear our lettuce here. We have some
That's beautiful too.
mandarin oranges here that we're gonna use. You can use fresh oranges, but I would like to get all the little tough skins out. So that's what's nice about mandarin oranges is they're just ready to go. So we're gonna sprinkle those in, and this looks pretty already and delicious. That's why we really love to start with the a mixed salad greens that has some of the dark lettuce. They're really easy to grow too.
And some of the purple. I think that's so pretty.
The dark. Today we're using dried cranberries. You can get some other dried fruit is really easy to find, and it's not too hard to make if you have some extra fruit in the summer. Just dehydrate it.
You can use a dehydrator, or you could dry it in the sun.
Exactly.
Dry it
Now
in
we're
your
gonna sprinkle on a few almonds. These are sliced almonds. Some folks like walnuts. Walnuts are really good in the salad, and it gives it a nice little crunch. So we're gonna sprinkle in the almonds.
This is pretty healthy for you too.
Oh,
isn't it?
this is very healthy. Another good thing that makes a great salad, and once you get used to having cheese in your salad, you'll miss it if you don't. But cheese is just a great addition to salad. It gives it some kind of a heartiness. So we're gonna add some. This is feta cheese. You know, a lot of your homemade cheeses, soft cheeses, would be great to crumble up and sprinkle in here. This is looking delicious
Goat cheese,
already.
that would be nice.
Yeah. We like to make our dressing all the way from scratch. This is so easy. Okay, what you need to make your mayonnaise is you need some eggs. You need some oil. We like to use olive oil light, because that way we love olive oil, but the strong olive oil would transfer into the mayonnaise. So you want to use a light olive oil. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and we're going to pour. We need 1 cup total for the recipe, but we're going to start by pouring a 1/4 cup into the blender. So, and you need a blender. Now, you can probably find lots of other mayonnaise recipes, but this is the one that I like to use. It's very simple. Would you like to pour me maybe 3/4 cup, because we're going to need.
Sure.
We're just starting with our 1/4 cup of olive oil in the blender. We're going to put some vinegar. Now we need our tablespoon. We're going to put 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and I just use a white vinegar. We're going to add 1 egg.
Did you want that much?
That's
Is
good.
that okay?
That's good. Just 3/4 cup left over in your measuring cup, and just a teaspoon of salt. And Mom, if you would slice a lemon,
I sure will.
we're going to need a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I like to fresh squeeze my lemon juice. Cut open a lemon like Mom's doing right now. Now, at times, if I'm out of lemons, I have just used 2 tablespoons of vinegar. But today we are grateful to have our fresh lemon. I'm just gonna, if you take just a wedge of lemon and squeeze it right in your tablespoon.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have our tablespoon of lemon juice. And now what we're gonna do is put our lid on the blender. And you need to have a blender that has a little, see how this lid comes apart like that? So it can be running and on, and we're going to need to pour our oil through there. So you want to have a blender that has this little lid that comes off. We only want to blend it for 5 seconds, and then we're going to start slowly adding our olive oil light into it. I usually do it on a low setting. And you want to stop it immediately after the last drop of oil is added. So,
really pretty.
look at that. We have nice,
Whoa.
thick mayonnaise. This is great. Look at this. This is just excellent. This is going to make a wonderful salad dressing. See how nice and thick it is?
Put it back in that cup, or?
Yeah, Mom, that
Yeah.
would be great
Okay,
if you would
great.
do that.
Yeah.
We just need maybe like a 1/2 cup maybe.
All
You
right.
can spoon that in there. That would be great. So we have our buttermilk. We have some spices here. We have onion powder, garlic powder. We have some parsley flakes. And we have some oregano. This is beautiful stuff to add. This is just dried herbs. You could probably use fresh herbs. This is just going to add some flavor. The base of this salad dressing is the mayonnaise and the buttermilk. And Mom usually likes her salad dressings a little sweet. So I'm going to let Mom add the honey. We're going to start with our buttermilk. And we're just going to, this would be too thick for a salad dressing as it is. So we're going to thin it down. That's kind of what we're doing with the buttermilk. We're just thinning it down. And it does add a little bit of flavor.
Did we drizzle the honey?
Yeah, we're just
do
gonna
that after that.
just gonna stir this buttermilk in. I started with this was 5 ounces of buttermilk. We are not gonna use it all. We're just probably gonna use a couple of tablespoons.
You want me to stir?
Okay.
Got it in there.
See, that is
Oh.
the right consistency right there.
Nice.
Now you can do this the way that you like it. If you like your salad dressing a little runny, you could put a little more buttermilk in there. Okay, we're gonna add some spices now. We're gonna add some onion powder. Oh yes, we probably should add the honey first.
Okay. Drizzle.
We like raw honey. If you don't like your dressing sweet, don't add the honey. Mom's gonna drizzle some in there. I'm gonna mix it in. This is no biggie, and this is just to taste. That's the nice thing about cooking from scratch is you can do this the way your family likes it. You don't have to always go by the recipe. You just kind of use the basic principles that we've shared with you and have fun, be creative. Okay, I'm just gonna Taste that. That's perfect. All right. We're going to add a little bit of onion powder.
Onion powder.
I don't like onions that well raw. They are pretty healthy for you, but I like them cooked, so I'm just going to add a pinch of the onion powder. Now, I like garlic, so we will add a little bit more garlic powder than we will onion powder. I actually think our garlic powder is powder. So we're going to add, this is just like a pinch, a 1/4 teaspoon maybe. And again, you don't have to be big on the measurements because it's all about your taste, what you like. Okay, Mom, would you like to?
Yes.
This is some parsley. Parsley is so easy to dry. You can dry your own parsley. Now here's some oregano. It smells so delicious. We're just going to mix some of that in.
Oh, that is nice.
Now, if you have some fresh herbs grown in your garden, this would be a great time to chop those up and put those in there. This is a beautiful salad dressing. Look at that. That is just wonderful. I love to make my mayonnaise from scratch, and it makes great dressings. This is going to be a wonderful salad and salad dressing. Okay, I'm going to let Mom drizzle this salad dressing over the salad. You want to use a fork? I was going to pour it.
Every bit of it. Well, I was just going around the sides and getting in every bit of the herbs. I love that.
That is beautiful.
It is wonderful, Jasmine.
And we found that if you go ahead and put your salad dressing on your salad and have it tossed, it's ready to eat, and people are going to love to eat your salad.
Is that about right?
This is the fun. That is great. A fun and easy way to build your salad.
Now we have our beautiful pizza is done, our wonderful, delicious, beautiful tomato soup, and the beautiful green salad. Let's serve a plate.
All right, should I start with the pizza?
Yes, let's start with pizza.
Cut a piece here. This pizza is amazing. I think it's one of the best looking pizzas we have ever made.
Oh, that is so colorful on it.
We put all kinds of stuff on this pizza. We had a blast making it.
Wonderful.
Right.
You want me to hold while you pour?
Can we take the lid off your soup?
Help you out. And nice,
Oh, it
warm,
smells so good.
hearty, healthy.
Tomato soup.
I can't wait to eat it. This is just great.
Wow, isn't that beautiful together on the plate? That wonderful, scrumptious looking lunch here.
A beautiful, beautiful meal made with our own hands. Wonderful. We want to encourage you to do the same.
Well, we've had breakfast and we've had lunch. Now it's supper time. We're going to start with making a roast. Actually, I should tell you what all we're going to have today. We're going to have roast with carrots and potatoes and onions, slow cooked in a Dutch oven for hours. We're going to have buttermilk biscuits with gravy over them. We're going to have green beans, and we might even get to have a peach cobbler for dessert.
Oh, sounds wonderful, Cece.
All right, let's get started braising the roast. All right, Mom.
All right, we are going to go ahead and braise a roast in a Dutch oven, which is really, really handy because we're going to be cooking in our Dutch oven anyway. And when we braise our roast, what we're going to be doing actually is sealing in the juices of this roast. And it's going to be really good. So I'm probably going to use tongs.
Here,
You can,
grab a couple.
okay, a couple of forks, but try to keep from piercing your roast, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my crock pot, I'm going to get it going nice and hot, and I'm going to put all sides, end up putting all sides of the roast in my crock pot. You know, I'm going to be turning,
like brown it on all sides, right?
Brown it on all sides, yes. And so if you do use a fork or something, try not to pierce it, because we're going to kind of seal the flavor, and that's what my mom always told me. So makes wonderful flavored pot roast. And this is basically the principle of browning.
Right, while we're waiting for our roast to get good and braising there, we're going to chop up some of our potatoes and carrots to put in the roast. Here, Mom, you want to do a carrot, and I'll get a knife and do some potatoes?
Oh, good old organic carrots. You don't have to peel them. So that's nice.
Still wash them, though.
You want them nice and chunky? How big?
Yeah.
Okay, because it doesn't matter. They're going to tenderize,
Exactly.
right? Because they're going to be
soft
cooking.
as they cook.
Right.
And we've washed our potatoes, but we're not peeling them because we like to have our peelings on our potatoes for our roast.
Oh, I can hear that roast simmering.
Starting to cook.
That's great, because pretty soon we're going to turn it over, braise it on all sides. You can hear
check
that
the roast now?
Yes. And we could use the wooden, we can use 2 forks or some wooden spoons would work too, just so that I don't, watch out for, I don't want to,
There we go.
just so I don't have, I don't pierce it. Oh, it's starting to smell good
It
already.
does. It smells very
I'm
good.
going to turn it around. Okay, I'm fixing to flip it over a little bit. There we go. It's starting to brown.
Yeah. See?
That's
Right
what
there
I'd
is
really
what you
like to go
like to
for.
have.
And it's going to make some wonderful juice.
Juice, that's right. Now the key about braising is you don't put the lid on. You want to cook it without a lid on because you're going to put the lid on when it's time for it to cook slower and have the steam and juiciness. Right now we just want to seal the outside of that roast good.
How long is this roast going to go?
We're going to probably let this cook in a crock pot 4 hours at a low setting.
You know,
Or in the oven, you could do it about 2 hours, 1 or 2 hours at about 350. How do you usually cook your roast? 300, 350, I'd say. Okay, this is doing good. This is what you want. That nice sound.
See, we're cooking by sound right now. I've even put it on the sides.
Yeah.
I will flip it over.
It needs to cook right a little bit more like that. I like to start seasoning a little bit of my roast now. That grease in there that's cooking, it's making a great juice, and I think now is a great time to start adding a few seasonings. Mom, could you cut a couple of these little onions up? I'm going to add some Creole seasoning here, just a tad bit, to give it a little bit of a flavor. I'm going to put some black pepper in. Now I'm going to put a little bit of oregano flakes in there. My grandmother's recipe for a roast like this, she puts all kinds of stuff in there. Parsley, sage. I'm going to put some sage in here.
Just take these leaves off. If you want rubbed sage, this is rubbed sage right here. And it is so fresh.
All right.
Wonderful.
I think we should turn it on its side, don't you, Mom?
Yep, I do. Let me see if we have a pot holder. Why don't you get a pot holder? I might turn it down a tad. Okay, you hold the pot real good for me.
Okay.
I'll just turn it on the side. Oh, that really brown.
That is beautiful.
See that browning? That's beautiful. That's gonna cause this roast to taste wonderful. And that's gonna make some wonderful gravy too. Which we're gonna make gravy. We love to make gravy.
All right, I think it is time for us to add those carrots and potatoes. And we're going to throw these in here. Kind of cover them in like that. The potatoes and carrots also help make a lot of juice and moisture. And the more moisture you have, the more tender your roast is. And it should just fall apart in pieces when it's time to eat it. I like to, and Mom likes to too, add just a little bit of water now at this point. About, how much would you say?
1/4 of a cup, 1/2 cup.
We need some of that water now.
Okay.
I'll get it.
Alrighty. This just starts smelling good. It looks beautiful. The colors are great. It's really going to tenderize. It's still going to be so delicious. And another nice thing about the potatoes and carrots are going to take on the flavor of the roast. It's going to be wonderful. Okay,
All right, here we
we
go.
don't have to do a whole lot. We're going to fix to make some steam.
And that's what you want right there. Put that on.
Isn't that great?
Now, we are going to put this in the oven and let it bake slowly for a couple hours. And we're going to show you how to make buttermilk biscuits while this is baking in the oven.
Well, there's nothing better than buttermilk biscuits.
That's right, we love buttermilk biscuits. And one of the reasons why we love to use buttermilk in our biscuits is it helps with the rising so much. If you don't use buttermilk in your biscuits, sometimes your biscuits turn out to be little flat things. But if you
That's
put buttermilk,
disappointing.
you put buttermilk in them, they get nice and tall and fluffy and flaky, and they just fall apart in your hands.
You're making me hungry.
Well, let's make some.
All
okay?
right.
Let's see. We're gonna need our bowl here.
Susie's gonna get a bowl. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the ingredients. Of course, we need some flour. We like to use fresh ground wheat flour. We also like to have a little bit of white flour. It kind of helps it with the rising, you know. But you know, the nice thing about buttermilk, it helps a lot with the rising. So if you wanted to, you could do it all wheat. It might not get quite as tall.
Right.
So the white flour kind of helps fluff it up.
All right. First, I'm gonna do 2 cups of white flour.
I can hold the sifter.
Yeah.
We're gonna use our handy sifter here. This just helps keep things nice and fluffy. It kind of whips some air into it a little bit, I think. So I'll start sifting this. This is a fun thing for children to do too, again.
Yes.
It's fun for me too. Got it?
And then we're gonna do 2 cups of wheat flour.
All right. That's the good for you stuff, huh?
Yep. Grab this over here. Here, why don't you do that and I'll hold the
Sure.
sifter.
Good idea. Teamwork.
Right.
Okay, so how many cups did you say?
2 cups. So
All
we
right.
want a total of 4 cups of flour. Now we have measured out here 8 teaspoons of baking powder.
Just dump that right
Throw
in the
that
sifter.
in there. And 1 teaspoon of salt.
All right.
Good.
That it's mixed
We're going to
up
make
very
sure
well.
we mix up our baking powder and our salt really good in our flour. There. And now we're going to add, we use coconut oil when it's hardened still before we let it melt at room temperature. But you can use lard or you can use shortening in your biscuits
Right. You want this,
to be at that kind of
Yeah.
consistency right there.
you don't want it like oozing out.
No.
Because this is how
And you don't
make
want
good
it like
biscuits.
liquid, like oil, because this part is what you call cutting the oil into your
Exactly.
biscuits, into your flour.
And it
When I put my fat into my biscuits, I don't measure. Now I'll tell you why here. I'm just going to eye it right now. Throw that in there.
Maybe start
Go
with
ahead.
a couple of big rounded tablespoons.
Tablespoons.
So,
This is why. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start going like this right here. And I'm just kind of mix this in. I know it looks gooey and yucky, but this is the best way. You want enough shortening or lard or coconut oil, whatever you use, in your flour that when you go like this with your hand, it doesn't, see, it's not quite,
I think it needs a tad
it
more.
needs more, a little bit more. What you want is it to be like cornmeal, like a coarse cornmeal, and that when you go like that, it sticks together really good. It's still falling apart too much. So we're going to add a little bit more. But the perfect in between is when they're nice and flaky, and it looks like we've got just the right amount.
Yeah,
see how we can
they're
go like
sticking
that?
together?
And they're still sticking together? That's perfect.
That's what you want.
All right, now we're going to add our buttermilk.
Okay,
Once
now,
again,
I'm going to wash my hands.
I don't measure with the buttermilk. Make sure that's all mixed up there. You don't want to put a whole lot. It's just a little bit. I used to think it's like cups and cups of liquid, and you don't need a whole bunch of liquid in your biscuits. So you remember, you've already gotten it to the consistency where it's sticking together pretty good. You need just a little bit of liquid to moisten it a little bit more to make it more like a dough. Now I'm going to stir it with a fork because it would be a little messy if I stuck my hand in there.
And we have preheated our oven to about
400 degrees.
400 degrees.
As you can see, it's starting to clump together and make a bigger ball, but I'm going to add a little bit more buttermilk in here. Mix it in.
That looks nice.
We don't want to keep using a fork, and we don't really want to chop it up like that. What we're trying to do is make a dough, a nice ball of dough. So what we're going to do is actually start kneading it like you would bread. Need to add a little bit more liquid. Oh, that's good. So it's probably about a cup, maybe not always quite a cup, maybe a little bit more. It varies. The only thing that's always, when I make buttermilk biscuits, that's a set measurement is my flour, my baking powder, and my salt. So see how it's coming together and forming a
It is. I'm going
nice bowl
to
here.
clear some of this out of the way.
Okay. We could use just a tad more
Okay.
liquid in there.
Might need to get some out of the
That's good. That's perfect. Great.
market.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
And again, you want to be careful and just add little bits at a time at this point. We just don't want it too
Wet,
wet. We want it nice,
because we want it nice and smooth when we roll it
smooth
out.
dough.
Okay, that's good.
So I need to
Now-
grab the rolling pin,
Yes,
don't I?
because it's ready to roll out.
Oh, that is
Another
nice.
key is you don't really knead your biscuit dough like you do bread. You don't want to like do like that. There's, you want to form it as best you can into a ball here, but not like really. You don't need to work it really. All right, now we need to flour our board here.
Could also use a sifter to flour it.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen these cute little cans. You put the flour in, it has holes on the top, and you just shake it on.
Okay, here we go.
And I've also floured the rolling pin just real lightly. Should I roll them out, or do you want to do that?
Go ahead.
Okay. And we're not going to do it too flat, because we want tall and fluffy biscuits.
Good.
Is that good?
And what I like to do is I roll it out and then I scrunch it back together here a little bit. And sometimes I just might even turn it over so it's floured on both sides there. I mean, if you want big, thick biscuits, you want to roll it out thick. You know, you're not rolling out a pizza dough or pie crust here. It's not pastry. It needs to be thick so you remember you have big, fluffy biscuits. So this is about, what would you say, 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick?
That's getting close to 1 inch thick.
All right, now we're going to cut them. A little bit of coconut oil in the bottom of our pan, and I'm going to cut these biscuits out.
We're going to bake the biscuits in this, so we're going to just lightly grease it. There we go.
Okay.
There's kind of a mathematics in this too. How many biscuits can you cut out and get out of the dough?
What I like to do is I like to bake my biscuits in a pan that has a lip here that's kind of deep. I found out if you bake them in something like this, they can actually, it makes them with sides, they
Right.
rise.
It helps, everything holds up.
So even if you have a glass baking dish, that would work. That's usually what I use, but this is a nice cast iron,
No, this is a really
Here.
good thing.
and I love to cook in cast iron. And I'm putting them close together. I want them to touch because that also helps them rise up together and be moist.
Just remember not to work it too much. We're just going to make it smooth
Rolling
again.
pin?
It's right over there. Can I make
Roll
1
it
star
out.
or 2 stars?
Sure.
Thank you. Love stars. You can also get little tiny biscuit cutters, and you know what's really fun is to get a, this was a tomato paste can, and you just cut off the top, and this makes cute little biscuits.
Yeah, let's try some of those.
We'll finish the last little bit with these little biscuits.
A little bit
All right,
more.
Sissy's gonna get it just perfect, so we
I'm
can get
particular about this.
maybe 3 little biscuits out of
All
here. Maybe 4. Oh, they're so cute.
We might get 4. I think we're going to get 4 out of there.
All right, look at that.
And we still have dough left over.
And you know what I like to do with the leftover dough? I like to make a little hand biscuit, but we might get a couple more. There we go.
Little drop biscuit might have to go in its own
Okay.
pan somewhere. All right, we're going to put these in the oven to bake about 10 to 15 minutes or until they're nice and golden brown on top and all risen. And we're going to show you next how to make green beans and nice gravy.
Well, now our roast is all about ready.
I think so.
I can smell it. It smells wonderful. We're going to look at it. Ooh, look at that. That is wonderful.
It is.
And we can
Look
get
at
it
all
in.
that juice in it.
I know.
That's good.
It's going to make
That's
some good gravy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to take our roast out carefully. And we've got our nice potatoes and carrots. I'm going to try not to splash.
Pick up
Do
our
you need
roast
me to
here.
get another side?
And it's falling apart, so that's a
Oh,
good
that's
sign. That means
nice.
it's very tender.
Very tender. That's going to be nice. Make a good dinner. Woo. Mm-hmm.
Put that on there like
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We take our slotted spoon and we're going to carefully pick up some of these potatoes and carrots and put them around our roast real nice. That looks beautiful. It's going to taste beautiful.
Oh, yes.
We're going to leave all the juice in there.
Well, The reason why we're going to leave all the juice in the Dutch oven is we're going to use that to make a great gravy to put over your roast or over the buttermilk biscuits that we've made. All right, I think that's good. We'll
Here,
just
maybe
set that
one more
down.
little. Oh, that's beautiful. We could probably put a little bit on top, couldn't we? That
There
wouldn't
we
hurt.
go.
Okay, now we
Now-
have this beautiful.
I'm going to set it
Juice.
back there.
Yep. We're going to go back here with that. Get that out of the way, and we're going to make our gravy. And we love
Put
to
a
make
lid on
gravy.
this so it doesn't get cold, and let's set it over here.
My mama taught me to make gravy, and then Mama's mama taught her to make gravy, and they passed it down, and I passed it down to the girls.
Us,
Yes, and it's
I
wonderful.
learned how to make gravy, and a very good
I
gravy.
realize that. I've put some coconut oil. Once again, I like to use the coconut oil.
You don't want too much, but a nice coating on the bottom, because what we're going to do is what it's called browning the flour.
Right. Now,
So,
have some
get some
flour,
flour.
here. And I'm gonna I like to let my skillet get a little warm
Get a
and
little warm.
my
Starting to
oil get a
pop
little.
there.
Yeah, that's good. Good sign when it starts popping, huh?
You want to do it?
Uh-oh.
Just sprinkle a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
in there.
let me sprinkle. This is something I love to do.
Now, when you make gravy, what I've learned is you start out with less and you just build and you keep adding and you end up having, a nice amount of gravy.
I'm gonna brown that and see what happens.
All right. A
The-
great way not to have lumpy gravy, Mom taught me, is to use a fork and
Smash
just
it.
kind of smash it around in here. And any little lumps you might see, just smash them away. Oh, some of my earliest memories is Mom making gravy.
Oh, it's a
Saying,
joy.
bring
isn't
me
it?
some milk, quick! Hurry! My flour is browning. My
It's
flour is
always
burning.
kind of fun to know if we were gonna make
So,
it.
Mom, how do you know when your flour is brown enough, or what is browning? Is it just like what it sounds like, brown
No.
flour?
I would say
Right now.
right now.
Right now.
I'd look at it.
You can
and-
smell it. It's starting to smell
Okay,
like
where's my
flour.
gravy? I'm going to
Right
use
there.
this little cup, and I'm going to scoop up our roast beef. Now this is really
This
going
is
to
what-
get going.
Woo!
Okay,
Add more, quick.
kind of fun. This is what's called the joy of cooking, right?
Yeah. I need some more in there. We want it to be.
Okay, now we're really
Nice
going
and
to
liquidy.
smash this. I think we could have
And
browned
turn
it
it down a
more.
little bit.
Yeah. And you can add milk to it. Oh, that's going to be a dark, beautiful dark
And it
brown
looks like
gravy.
it might be lumpy,
Ooh.
but the more you stir it and smash it with this fork, it's going to turn out to be smooth. It's going to be a dark, like Mom said, a dark
Yeah, and it
brown
doesn't
gravy,
always-
but that's okay because you're using the juice from your roast. So it's going to have all the flavor in there from the meat and the herbs and the onions that we put in there earlier. Should we add some milk to this,
You
Mom?
can.
Or
That'd be
just keep
great.
using
I
juice?
can keep using this,
Oh,
and
we
you
can
can
do
add
both.
some. Let's do a little bit of both.
All right.
And also, it doesn't always take two to make gravy, but
Yeah.
we fight over making the gravy.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
We like to make gravy.
Another
Oh,
key
this is
about making gravy
beautiful.
is taste it as you go.
I was fixing to say, let's taste some of this.
Let me grab
That's
a spoon
beautiful.
here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Strong
I think we
spoon.
could even. I think we could even get it a little thinner too. This
Now
is
I've turned
still
it
real
down
thick.
to really low because now you really don't have to cook it. You just want it to stay at a nice hot temperature.
Yeah, you've probably got enough flour in there, you know. It is really good looking gravy too. Very good.
That is yummy
Is it
gravy.
wonderful?
It is good.
I gotta have some too. Okay, I'm
All
gonna
right.
add a little
more juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And now, what are we gonna do with this gravy over those biscuits?
Oh, or over the roast beef.
Oh, wow, it's
That'd
gonna be
be yummy.
wonderful.
I'm gonna add some salt in here too. Oh, I think that is done.
That's
do you think,
beautiful.
Mom?
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna
We're
have a
gonna-
little taste myself. Oh,
Good?
wow. Whoa, really good.
All right.
Wonderful.
Now we're gonna pour it in our gravy pitcher.
Okay, you need a pot holder here.
Yes.
There you go.
Where's my pot holders?
Okay.
Pour it
Need
in
any
here.
more help? There you go. That is
Oh,
so.
that's a nice gravy.
Oh boy, that is
Every
nice.
little piece out there.
That is
All right.
wonderful gravy.
Now that we've got our gravy
Easy to
done,
make.
we're going to make some green beans to go with our delightful meal here.
Great.
These are green beans that we've canned this summer ourselves. Since these green beans weren't canned with a whole lot of water in them, and what water is in them, I'm going to drain off. But First, I want to get my skillet hot and put some oil in here.
Go back here and get a little rag.
Not too much, just a nice coating. There. And Mom, if you want to grab those onions in a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and open our can here.
Oh,
Once again, we want to let our onions saute a little bit and get nice, and you don't want them browned, but clear, kind of clear. Yeah, look at that. All right, toss these green beans.
That's it. They'll come
You have
out.
to shake them hard to get them out.
There we go.
Woo, yeah.
Hear that sound?
Yeah, that's a good sound.
sound.
All right, let's get a wooden fork.
Okay, that'd be great because I've got them going in pieces here. Yeah.
I want to let them kind of cook over the onions like that for a minute before I start turning them. Stir these up a little bit more.
Gee, all it needs to do is sing and you'd have all the senses taken care of. The sight is good, the
These
smell
green beans
is good.
are almost done. They're getting heated up all the way through, which is what we want.
The taste is going to be great, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You want to taste one, Mom?
Sure, that'd be great.
Let's see.
Okay.
Want to grab a fork?
I will. Alrighty. I'm going to go down right here where the, I just need a little bit.
Blow on it.
Think
Hot.
so?
Yeah. Is it good?
Very good.
All right. I believe our green beans are now done.
Wonderful.
And
That's
we
great.
need to check on our biscuits
Oh, we
that
do.
we have in the oven.
Okay.
I
How's
bet
it
they're
going?
done.
Right. Oh, those are beautiful.
Yep.
Oh,
They're
wow. Even look at the little stars.
Yeah.
Sweet. You know, children love to make biscuits.
A little.
And they would have
small
fun with the
round
stars,
biscuits.
wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yep.
Those are nice.
Well, we've got green beans cooked, our biscuits are done, our gravy's ready, and so is our roast. We've just got one thing missing.
A good meal is not complete without a dessert. And now we're going to make some peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler is one of my favorite desserts. I think it's one of our family favorite desserts because it's so quick and easy to make when you don't have a lot of time, or maybe company just drops in and you want to have a dessert. Peach cobbler is the way to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 1 cup of flour. You want to get it? Sure.
Okay, and we're using the unbleached white flour. If you want to, you could probably do half wheat.
That's right, experiment with some wheat. So we're going to put a cup of flour in our sifter here, and we're going to use 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Go ahead and put that in there, and a ½ teaspoon of salt. Add that in. And we're going to stir that up with our sifter here.
I think it helps with the rising.
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it helps aerate the flour.
exactly.
I think we've got that pretty much through there. Now we're going to add a cup of sugar here.
Again, you can use raw sugar or probably experiment if you want to start experimenting.
Yeah, if you'd like to use maple syrup. I've used maple syrup before and then just used less liquid later on. When the recipe calls for milk, I just used a little bit less milk. So
That's a
you
good
can use
tip.
maple syrup, and it does taste really good with maple syrup.
And it's healthy.
So we've stirred that up really well there. And do you think you could beat an egg? You're going to want
Sure.
1 egg beaten, which you'll just crack it into a bowl. And then you'll go ahead and beat that before you add it to your batter.
There we go. I always like to rinse my hands after I
I'll go ahead and
use
start
eggs.
beating this egg up for you. There we go. I think that's good. You can add that in. You're going to need a ½ cup of milk. So if you were using maple syrup, then you wouldn't have to use as much milk, maybe a 1/4 cup of milk.
So I'm just going to dump the egg right
That's
in the
right.
bowl.
Just add it in. Let me make sure that's ½ cup.
Okay.
There we go. And we're going to add in ½ cup of milk.
That looks good.
It tastes really good too once it's made. Start mixing that up. You know what? I think we might need a little bit more milk. If your batter just seems a little too thick, you can add more milk. You don't really want like a cake batter consistency.
Right.
You don't want it to be runny. You do want it to be a little on the thick side. So how about you just add like a teeny bit of milk there?
Just like a couple
plenty.
more tablespoons.
Yep, I think that's going to be perfect. Those are the ingredients for the basic batter for this wonderful cobbler. This cobbler tastes so good. It's one of the best tasting cobblers I think I've ever had. And I've had a lot of cobblers because I love to eat peach cobbler. What we've already done in our pan that we're going to bake it in, it's an 8x8 pan, and we've melted a 1/2 cup of butter. You want to do that first. I think that's the key to making this really good. And you're going to, once you have your 1/2 cup of butter already melted in your pan, you're going to pour in your batter here.
Right. A good idea is to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350. And while you're getting your ingredients ready, just throw your 1/2 cup of butter in there.
That's right.
Pop
it can
it
be
in the
melting
oven.
while your oven's preheating.
Exactly. Just don't forget.
That's right. You don't want to burn your butter.
No.
Do you think you could grab a spoon for me so I can
Sure.
get every last drop out in here? Here, would you like to take over?
Yes.
Okay. We've also got 2 cups of peaches here. Now, I sprinkled sugar over them. You don't have to do that. Since we canned these ourselves, they weren't as sweet as maybe your store-bought peaches would be. So I just sprinkled a couple tablespoons of sugar. That's completely optional. I mean, that's just up to you and how you like the taste. But what you're going to do with your peaches is you're going to put them on top of your cobbler. The cool thing about this cobbler is by the time it's done, the peaches are going to be on the bottom. The batter's going to be on the top.
That's neat.
I know. It's so neat when you pull it out of the oven and see the transition that has happened.
That's really neat. And you're using drained peaches, right?
Yeah, I usually drain my peaches before I put them in the bowl with the sugar over them. And what they'll do is they'll actually make their own juice a little bit, but you don't have to use that.
So we have our oven preheated.
We're going to just pop this in the oven, let it bake for 15 to 20 minutes or until the edges are golden brown, and then it will be ready to eat.
Well, now our beautiful supper is ready. This is wonderful. We have roast and carrots and potatoes. We have wonderful homemade biscuits. We have terrific green beans and
Our peach cobbler is done.
peach cobbler. Yay!
Serve out a portion of this.
Oh,
This looks
right.
so good. Look
Oh.
at that. Ooh.
That's wonderful.
Can I taste some of that?
Sure. Let me put. You can put whipped cream. Is what we're going to do. Homemade whipped cream is really good
wonderful.
on your peach
Beautiful.
cobbler, but we like even better homemade ice cream, vanilla ice cream.
Oh, that looks
You'll have to blow on that if
wonderful.
you're going to try it.
Yeah, it
because
looks
it's gonna
really
be
hot.
Really hot.
Try this little piece right here.
Huh, aren't you having your dessert before?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, it looks delicious. Wow.
That's
That
wonderful.
is so good.
That's great. And we have wonderful gravy for our biscuits. Isn't that great? And it's just the right consistency.
Want to pour
Man,
some on those
just-
biscuits?
Yes, ma'am. I just can't wait to do that.
I've already had a
All
taste
right.
of that gravy. It is
Isn't it
good.
wonderful?
Mom makes the best
I don't
gravy.
think you can overdo it with the gravy on your biscuits.
And you can even put a little bit on your roast. And that is a wonderful meal. Beautiful meal.
Remember, cooking doesn't have to be a chore. I love to cook. It can be a great joy. And it can be a great blessing to those who you feed, too.
Thank you for cooking with us today.
We hope we have encouraged you to gather the family in the kitchen, the heart of the home.
It's a place to make meals that create lasting memories.
We hope to see you again at Homestead Blessings.
Oh, it does work great.
What's your feet?
Oh, if I lose a thumb, we'll just
That was fun. We hope we have encouraged you to gather the family in the kitchen, the heart of the home.
A place to make meals that create a
have speed?
Speed.
Okay.